We're on top of a really big hill in Portugal. We just came up a really technical trail. You fell off coming up it.
I fell off.
It's full of rock steps and messy and tricky. And now we're going to do a lesson on going back down it. Welcome to MiniTip Monday. If you're new here, welcome to Break Magazine. My name's Llel and I'm a journalist, off-road instructor and filmmaker. I do tutorials, bike reviews and travel videos. If you enjoy this video, liking and subscribing is massive for the YouTube algorithm, or taking a trip to my Patreon would be amazing. We recently did a MiniTip Monday where I helped Luce get a little bit better at uphills. It was kind of one of the weaker things in your riding, the things you struggled with most. But downhills is kind of the opposite, I think, for you. Like, you don't find downhills that scary, do you?
No, I hope for the best, but I seem to make it down 95% of the time.
I think it's generally one of your better skills in your riding set. You seem really comfortable and consistent on the brakes. And like, we've been down some really steep hills since we've been here. Down much steeper ones.
Not deliberately.
Not deliberately. But down much steeper ones and you've gone up. It's quite easy to get into trouble here in Portugal by taking the wrong trail and discovering that it immediately becomes nearly cliff-like. But I think the hill behind us is a really good opportunity for you to work in some detail on being just a little bit better when it's really tricky. We'll go and film you ride it and then film you come back up it, because there's no way round, unfortunately. And then we'll talk you through some finer details.
I think I'm supposed to be talking whilst I'm doing this, but I can't really, talk at the same time. I'm going into a tree. Oh no, I was in the tree. Okay, I'm going to try and go around the edge. Ah! I survived. I went into a tree, which means that I was temporarily blind, which I don't think helps the situation.
I think that was really, really good, actually. You kind of did a really good job on what is quite a tricky hill. It's very loose. What I think we can work on is basically the idea of starting to learn to brake more when you've got grip, so that you've got some latitude to deal with things like rock steps and so on. And we've got a bunch of rock steps in a row here on the right. You came down the left-hand side. The left-hand side of this hill, apart from this step right here, which is, I don't know, maybe 8 inches, there isn't really any steps there. There's quite good grip. There's quite a good line.
I avoided them.
I know, and that's exactly what I would normally do. But for the purpose of this exercise and for getting a little bit more comfortable, I think it's a really good thing to do to try and make the hill deliberately more difficult, so that you have to control your speed more at the top, so that you've got something in reserve over these rock steps, but not so much that you arrive at this messy bit and into that messy bit going too fast. So the way that I would suggest you do this is, before you come into these rock steps, I would increase the pressure on the front brake progressively, quite quickly, to stick the tire in and slow the bike right down, so that when you come to the rock step, you can ease off the brake a little bit to let the bike roll over. If you try to go down a rock step too slowly, it becomes incredibly difficult to keep your balance. You have a period where you've got no brake, and then when you hit the ground again, you lock a little bit. So what you're looking to do is brake hard at the top, slow the bike right down to almost walking pace, come off the brakes a little bit, ease over the steps, slow down again, do the same again, and then you have to be careful on this area here. What I was looking for was to slow right down before the rock steps, to give myself room to ease off the brakes and let the wheels roll over that tricky ground. In my first attempt, I rolled a small rock right here, which meant I had to come off the brakes completely for a short distance to regain my balance and control. The second time was a much cleaner run and a much better example of good technique. After running through a couple of demos, it was Luce's turn. Her first run was still quite far to the right side of the trail and she looked super comfortable. For the next attempt, I suggested trying it more to the left-hand side, as it was a much trickier descent.
Ooh, a bit nervous.
You okay?
Sorry, size bike. That was terrifying.
You okay?
Ooh. Huh?
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think obviously it's like harder to like start when you're already...
I think you were pretty good up until this last one. And this is where you need that moment where you have to ease off the brakes a little bit, because otherwise when you go over the edge a tiny bit too slow, the front will fold. Because everything is pushing the bike down and you're telling it to stop really gently on the front brake. After walking the bike down to an easier spot and a quick reset to the top, Luce went for one last run before the light left us. Okay. What's harder, going up or coming down?
I think I've got a bit nervous, and so I've struggled getting up that.
Okay.
I went into the tree again.
And how was it going down that time?
Better. Yeah. I think like what scared me was when you were like, it's like an exercise of going really slowly, and so it got to the point where maybe I misunderstood, but like I essentially stopped at the top and looked down, which is like a terrible choice. Okay,
so maybe that was like a poor explanation on my part. But I think the second time you did, like that time you did it perfectly.
Yeah.
So you came in and you slowed right down, but then you eased off the brake and let it roll over the rocks.
Yeah, I think like knowing the confidence that in this instance, not speed is your friend, but like momentum.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
You're not like on the gas, but like just to let it like gravity kind of take over and not stop. And because I get scared of like dying.
We're running out of light, so I think we're going to call that here because we still have to get home from this dark.
It's dark.
Oh, you think we're going down that one? Well, I was going to go that way. Home's that way. I have no idea. But at least you can get down now. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something about more technical downhills when you start to step out of that generic downhill with consistent grip. If you have enjoyed this video, we make quite a lot of MiniTip Mondays. Some of them are just me explaining concepts. Some of them are me helping Luce get better at her riding. If you're into that and you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of them, subs. And we also have a bunch of ways where you can support the channel so I can keep making videos, either through our online web shop or through our Patreon page, where we release MiniTip Monday as a series with kind of sequential growth embedded into the order of the videos. You also get some input over what the videos are going to be and so on. We have early release, lots of other good things. And we have an online shop. So if any of that sounds good, you can get links in the description below. And otherwise, thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one.